The convention center has left power in the hands of the trade associations and two big convention contractors. And exhibitors are still paying the price, huge markups for everything from cleaning services to floor space. Jim Wizella reported and wrote the eye-opening story, and he joins me to talk more about it. Jim, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Lisa.
So I think most people think that the unions are to blame here. You know, the old stories of you can't even plug in a cord without a union worker being present. But that's not really what you found, right?
Well, the unions have had their issues over the years. We all know that, and even the unions acknowledge that. But the biggest driver of costs at the convention center is not labor so much as the markups from the general contractors. They're marking up labor, they're marking up the freight handling, the shows are charging for extra money for floor space. All of these things add up to make a huge bill for exhibitors.
And these two big contractors, Freeman and GES, you know, they're trying to make money. But what about the trade associations? I think people think, well, they might be trying to save their exhibitors, their association members, money. But that's not really happening either.
Well, the trade associations really depend on these shows. They need these shows to make sometimes half to 3/4 of their annual operating budget so they can go out and do all the good work that associations do. So there's a lot of pressure on them to cut their own costs and maximize their revenue. And exhibitors, you know, they say, we like coming to trade shows. We meet our clients here, it's all good, but it's getting to the point where we simply can't afford it.
Can they put pressure on the associations to go to another city? Is this only a Chicago problem?
This problem is across the country, and one of the issues, I think there's so much attention's been placed on McCormick Place, but these issues, these cost hikes, are everywhere. They're a little bit higher at McCormick Place than in Chicago, and the exhibitors are now starting to band together and say, you know what, as a group, because we're so spread out across industries, as a group we have to actually start thinking about how we can put the pressure on to bring some of our costs down.
These reforms were put in place a couple of years ago to try to get to the root of some of these problems. What's going to happen going forward? You have a federal judge who's weighing in now, but you know, what else in the future could perhaps bring down some of these costs?
I think two big things are going to happen. The judge is going to make a decision about whether his ruling goes forward, and as you know, he ruled that the state had overreached their authority by legislating union wages and benefits that you're supposed to get through collective bargaining. So he's going to make a decision. And if he decides and stays in favor of the unions, then I think all bets are off and everybody's got to come back to the table. If he sides with the, you know, and stays his order, sides with the trade associations, then the unions are likely to appeal. So that's one big thing that will happen. The second big thing is that McCormick Place is supposed to be doing an audit of the associations and of the contractors to make sure that there are cost savings. And the big question there is, will they really get these contractors to open their books and show where the markups are, how they're making money, and who's getting what?
And these audits were supposed to take place twice a year, and it's been, what, a year and a half, and we still haven't had one yet?
Yeah, well, the legislation went into effect last August, so we're coming up to a year. They're supposed to be twice a year. Now, in McCormick Place's defense, I'll say that one of the things they said was, we have to have enough shows operating under the new rules in order to have something to audit. So now would be the time to go in there. We've had quite a few shows under those rules. Let's see, you know, who's paying what and where the savings might be.
Okay, Jim, well, great story, and we know you'll continue to be watching. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And that's this edition of Chicago Business Today. Be sure to check out Jim's investigation on McCormick Place in this week's print edition of Crains or on chicagobusiness.com, where you can also find an interactive graphic about what it costs to plan an exhibit booth. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.